There's a certain book that came out 2018, one of the most recent books by Vadim Zeland, and I've been discussing him with reality transurfing with previous videos. Vadim Zeland has a newer book called Tufti the Priestess, and in this book, in order to understand reality, how reality works, and how to mold reality in the way you would like to live your reality, the way you prefer, he compares reality to three things: a dream, a movie, and a mirror, a reflection. And I've discussed that before in previous videos, but in this book he has an awesome way of putting them all together, these three different models of reality, what he calls them, and it just makes sense to put them all together. It helps make something that seems so mysterious and unknown to something not only known, but something that you can apply in a practical approach, in a practical way. And this book also discusses certain manifestation techniques that are, from as far as I'm concerned, are not discussed in anything else. When he starts to discuss something called the plait. This book is translated from Russian, so it's basically a plait, Plait, is basically a braid. And there's this energy plexus that comes out from behind our back and our spine. And when we contemplate on it, it lifts up. Once you understand this certain energy center, you can look at it as a sort of magic wand to help you manifest what you want. Okay, so I'm going to discuss that a little bit later. In this book, in order to understand everything, you got to start from the beginning to the end. And the way I like to do my videos is I like to make things as concise as possible, to narrow down all the information, not only just to speed through it like a Cliff Notes type of thing, but also just to put it in my point of view. So in this book, Tufti the Priestess, Life Told Through a Movie, he starts out in the introduction by saying that both in a dreaming and a waking life, you are asleep. Dreams and everyday reality are a moving frame, like a moving frame of a film roll. The frame's movement can be controlled, but you don't know how to yet. So that's the first thing that you need to understand, is that when you are not paying attention, when you're lost in your thoughts, you're basically as good as being asleep, like unconscious. So he goes on to say that when you are lost in thought, you're lost in one of two screens. There's two screens. And he says sleep is a condition in which your attention is immersed in a screen. You can sleep or not sleep in a dream, as in waking reality. To wake up, you must bring your attention to the awareness center. So there's the outer screen and inner screen. So when you're lost in thought, you're basically asleep and you're only paying attention to that inner screen. But sometimes other things can be going on outside of you, and you can get lost into emotionally tied and attached to certain things that are going on in the outer screen, which is outer physical reality. And so he says that what we need to do is learn how to stroll through a dream. Kind of like basically knowing how to, when you're in a dream, to be lucid dreaming. So he says that we need to learn how to stroll through a dream. So get into the observation point, telling yourself, I see myself and I see reality. And that's what he calls the awareness center, how I was discussing. That middle section between the two screens of the inner reality and outer reality, your inner thoughts and what's going on outside of you. He said there's this center point, this awareness center right in the middle, where you're aware of both yourself and reality. So he says to set yourself the intention, today I'm going to stroll through a waking dream. Then go for a walk wherever you like, to work or to university, in this state of clarity. For the best effect, go to a place where nobody knows you, on a walk to a shopping center or an entertainment center. So just this is an interesting thing, because it's basically being in the present moment, but it's actually, I like this because this goes deeper into not only what that means, being in the present moment, but what that means when it comes to manifesting your reality. And that really answers it for me, is that you're in that awareness center where you're aware of yourself, you're aware of reality, and you're basically starting to gain control of the waking dream. So what he's saying is that you just simply, whatever you're doing, whatever you happen to decide to do for that day, just keep your attention in that awareness center, your inner screen, your outer screen, what's going on in your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and also at the same time of reality. So basically the affirmation for this is, I'm aware of myself and I'm also aware of reality. And then go on throughout your day in that way. And it's like you're in a dream, but you're lucid. You're lucid. And he calls this lucid living in his book, Reality Transurfing. And I remember when he said that, that popped out in my mind, like, wow. When I read that in that book, that makes sense. It's like if you're going to compare waking life to a dream, like if you're asleep, and if you're lost in your thoughts, it's like you're asleep. So if you're consciously aware, you're waking the dream. So it makes sense to call it lucid living. First entry into reality. In your usual state of consciousness, you are characters in a film. If your attention is not your own, your soul is not your own. You are directed by an external script, which wires you into the film. So what happens is that, say like if you're worrying about something, you're lost in that inner screen. And all those thoughts that are coming to you is a script that's already there, and it's like you switched film rolls, and that's the film roll that you are watching in that inner screen. And you're not being yourself when you're not consciously aware. When you're not aware of yourself and aware of reality, that awareness center, who are you? It's like, question that. Like, if you're not consciously aware, if you're not in the present moment, then who are you? Tracking your attention. Set yourself the goal of remembering to track your attention. As soon as something happens, you wake up. Before doing anything, you wake up again. And he says anything. It could be if all of a sudden there's a gust of wind, let that be a sign for you to wake up, to get into that awareness center. Remember, I'm aware of myself, and I'm also aware of reality. Composing reality. The actuality of life is that which has already occurred. You cannot change what has already happened, and nonetheless, you try and change your given reality in the current frame, which is why the future does not depend on you. What do you need to do? Setting reality ahead of time instead of fighting the actuality of the current life. This really was an eye-opener for me, because when things are not going our way, it's very easy for us to get lost in that outer screen, losing our track of our attention. Is looking at what we don't want, or what's happening that we don't want to be happening, facing lack. And it can be really difficult it can be really difficult to change your attention, or to not focus on such negativity, because you really want things to be happening in your favor instead of against your favor. But what I like about this philosophy is that, how do you know that what you're going through right now is not actually working in your favor? What if this is part of the script to get to that end result that you want, and you just don't know it yet? You know that saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. So, or also you cannot connect the dots until after the fact. And then, so what he's saying here is, instead of fighting against reality, it's like this present moment basically is as good as the past, because it's a conglomeration, a fusion of all your past thoughts, all the past film strips, the film rolls, manifesting in one moment. But it's always ever changing. It's always ever changing. But if you're trying to change the current frame right now, you're basically stuck in this feedback loop, and you're not going anywhere. So instead, you need to compose the frame ahead of time. And he does explain how to do that next by talking about the intention plate, P-L-A-I-T, or in other words, the braid. Like when someone has a ponytail braid that comes out from behind their neck. But in this case, it's an energy plexus. It's this energy center that you can actually feel. I remember when I first heard about this, I was like, wait, what? But it started to make more sense, and I'll go into detail a little bit later as I get more in depth with this form of manifesting, creating reality, reality transurfing, life story through a movie or a dream, or the reality mirror that we're living in. But the intention plate has two centers. There's the inner and outer. The inner center is located in the forehead. The outer is at the tip of the plate. Inner intention accounts for everyday activities in the current frame. Outer intention is capable of moving the future slide, composing reality. Like how I said, like if you want to, if there's something going on in your current life right now, in your current frame, you want to resist it, that's not going to help. If you're going to try to take action here and now, you think you're doing something, but really you're resisting in the current frame. What he suggests to do is to compose reality by using this energy, this energy plexus, the intention plate. And this is what sets this form of manifesting apart from other books that I have read, is that you imagine there's this energy braid or ponytail or plate, that's how he describes it, coming out from behind my neck. And then when I think about it, when I focus on it, at the tip of it, it goes up a little bit, and it's like, at first I was like, okay, but when I tried it myself, I started to feel this certain sensation. He said if you try it yourself, you will feel it too. You'll get this, and it's a very personal feeling too, so it could be different for each person, but I started to feel this sort of energy start to circulate back there and behind my neck. So when you think about the tip of the plate, at the same time, compose reality. Compose that future that you want to experience and feel as if it's happening now, which is always what, when it comes to manifesting, feel as if you're already in that reality now, feel as if it's already happening right now, feel as if you already are that person right now that has that goal accomplished, whatever it is that you want. But at the same time, and this is the key part of this book, is that at the tip of that plate, at the tip, right there, when you're thinking about it and you feel that energy start to shift, at the same time you're thinking about that future reality that you are manifesting, and you can say a certain thought form. That's what he calls, and I'll get into that later. It's a certain affirmation. He calls them thought forms. You can say to yourself that my intentions are being realized, and then you let go of that, and then you continue on with the life stroll through the dream or through the movie, or where you're aware of yourself and aware of reality. You're in that awareness center. So he says how to work with the plate. Wake up, activate the plate, hold the feeling, compose reality. Whether it works or not depends on whether you accept or negate what is happening. It is only possible if it fits into the mold of your worldview. So you gotta drop suspicion. You have to drop any kind of doubt. Just open your mind a little bit with this, because if you're not gonna believe it, then it's not gonna work. It's just, that's how you're gonna have to open your mind. Just try it out. Then you'll start to see, and like I said, I'll get into it later, but like there's thought forms and then thought markers. And he said that once you start to notice things happening in your favor, certain manifestations, certain feelings, certain things, those are thought markers. It's like a confirmation that it's working.